What's up? This is Adam 2 for 1, aka I got enough money in my wallet. That's what. Um, um, I know you guys are probably wondering like who the real Nazis are, right? I figured it out. Like the socialists, the people who are claiming they're socialists, these are the actual Nazis. You know, all they did was just, rebrand themselves. They knew they couldn't just come out and say they're Nazis because then, they couldn't get the support. It's the same way, Richard Spencer, man, he's probably not a Nazi. Man, I know that dude's not no Nazi. This dude got punched in the face and he backed off. What kind of Nazi gets punched in the face, backs off, and doesn't do anything about it? This guy's not a Nazi. He's actually a punk. And I don't know how many Nazis are punks. But anyway, so, people say, well, Richard Spencer is probably a Nazi because he would, of course, he wouldn't say he's a Nazi because if he would, people wouldn't let him speak. So he would have to pretend. But no, I don't think that guy's a Nazi. Most of these guys who are claiming they're Nazis, they're kind of weak. They're like, what do you call, keyboard warriors. They're kind of like, they say a lot of offensive stuff behind the, behind their keyboard, but they wouldn't, if it comes to real life, I guess what they call these anons, like anonymous people. In real life, they won't come out like that. They like to say offensive stuff, online or in chat rooms or boards or whatever. But in real life, they ain't gonna do nothing. So what I'm saying is, a lot of these socialists, Antifa, all these people, they're just Nazis. That's who they are. And the evidence of that, actually the Nazis, is that they say the most racist stuff. They stick up for minorities almost like they're children. It's like the way they pander to blacks and to other minorities. They don't pander as to like we need to help them get a leg up. The way they talk about blacks and women and minorities and Jews or whatever, it's almost like they're so ignorant, they're so stupid, they're so weak that we have to take care of them. We know better than them, and we have to fight and speak for them. That sounds like a racist person. That's exactly what a racist person would do. That, black people are so ignorant, they're so weak, they're so oppressed, that we have to speak and fight for them. They can't do it themselves. They can't rise up themselves. They're so weak and so childish that we need to speak for them. That we need to fight for them. I don't know, man. That sounds like a racist. You're saying that blacks can't defend themselves, they can't protect themselves, and they can't rise up and have power themselves. They can't have their own power. We have the power, we have privilege, and we're going to speak and have the power for them. They can't gain their own power. So anyway, same thing as women. You know one thing about Nazis, they don't like women. So that's when you see, and the funny thing is, here you got people saying it's okay to punch a Nazi. Did you know women were Nazis too? So if you're saying it's okay to punch a Nazi, you're saying it's okay to punch a female Nazi. So because you got women Nazis too. But anyway, so you see these guys, right? They don't protect their women, they don't respect them, and they put them on the front lines. What? You're putting your woman in danger? What are you doing? It's so dumb. Okay, so they say the most racist things, and a lot of times they say a lot of homophobic things too. Not homophobic, but like they make a lot of like gay slurs. They do that. They'll call you gay in a second, or they'll call you F word in a second. If you try to insult them, then there's a problem. But they can insult you with any type of slurs. I've seen it. I've seen them make gay slurs and racial slurs towards people all the time. And most of these blacks, they say the most racist stuff too. Oh my gosh, the stuff these black people be saying. And the funny thing is, it's usually the light-skinned blacks. You know, it's kind of funny how revolutionaries, well, even then, most revolutions even then were actually light-skinned. I guess it was like they didn't know who to be, black or white. I guess that's why they had to heighten their blackness. but yeah, if you look at keyboard revolutionaries, what they call the armchair revolutionaries, now they're usually light-skinned blacks, and they say the most racist stuff. So they got black supremacists, white supremacists. And if you look at Antifa, you notice how when you first saw Antifa, it was mostly white. And then the college students that are protesting the most, they're mostly white. And even in Black Lives Matter, it said Black Lives Matter was 80% white. Think about it. How is your movement for blacks, but it's mostly white? I mean, I've seen a conference where it was like the founders of Black Lives Matter movement, the 3 black women, and you look in the audience, it was like nothing but white people. So how you fight for blacks and the people support you ain't even black? So that's how you know this is a racial movement. It's all about racism. It's all about, because if you think about it, you look at that movie Get Out, where it was basically saying that whites are superior, and for the blacks to be civil, they have to be like us. So the only way they can be like us is we have to hypnotize them, basically. They're not like us. They're not as good as us. So we kind of have to hypnotize them. That's the only way we can get them to be like us. We have to, put them in a trance. So I noticed that that's how it kind of is now. You have these whites that feel as though they have to speak for blacks, or it's that these movements, they're mostly white. They're mostly white people, white women, and I don't know. White women are usually kind of like the most racist group. They're like the most racist people, because they say the most like offensive things. It's crazy how offensive and racist they say the stuff they be saying. But I notice how the people who are claiming that they're Nazis, these guys are not Nazis. These guys are just nerds on the internet that figured out if you say racist stuff, it's gonna get people riled up. It's definitely gonna get the people who are actually the racists riled up, because they have to prove that they're not racist. Why do you think they react the most strongest? Like if you call an actual Nazi and you call him racist, he's gonna be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I am. What's the problem? It's not gonna affect him. He's a Nazi. He's racist. And the thing about calling people racist is like, how many racists do you know are having a conversation with you, or trying to sit down and have some tea with you? I don't know any racists or any Nazis, like true Nazis, true racists, that actually are trying to have a conversation with you, asking you questions. How do you feel about this? Actually trying to have a debate with you. How many Nazis and racists, for you to be, if I'm talking to you, I'm a racist, and you're still alive? That's insane, right? How can I be racist and you're still alive? Racist people in the 50s, 30s, whatever, they would hang black people. They would have picnics and hang black people. They had no problem hitting a black person or killing a black person or hanging a black person. Same as Nazis. They had no problem taking a Jew out. If you ever saw Schindler's List, you would see how crazy the Germans were. So they had no problem killing anybody. So if I'm talking to you and I'm a Nazi, I'm a racist, and you're still alive, that means I'm not a racist. But you notice that these socialists, they have no problem wanting to kill you. They have no problem wanting to harm you, or no problem wanting to hit you or getting rid of you. Lena Dunham, I don't know, that girl is crazy. She said we gotta exterminate the white straight male. I was like, what? That is like the most racist thing I ever heard. So if you wonder, and the black woman was like, we need to punch Nazis. We need to punch them. I was like, wait. So if it's okay to punch a Nazi, then it's okay for me to defend myself and punch you back. Yeah, because if we assume that people are Nazis and we can punch them because we think they're Nazis, then I can assume that you're a Nazi and I can punch you too. But anyway, so yeah, real quick, if you notice, like I said, these socialists are the real Nazis because you can tell they do the most racist stuff. They say the most racist stuff, and they don't have no problem wanting to kill you, exterminating you, and harming you, and punching you, and kicking you. And if you notice that, yeah, the blacks do it too. They have no problem wanting to kill whites, wanting to harm whites. They already did it, but still doing it. Blacks are actually more likely to harm whites. Anyway, and the problem with these groups is that you have to say the people, the audience, the people around these groups, because the groups are really small. The black supremacists, the white supremacists, the socialists, the groups are really small. You know, the Islamic people, the groups are small, but the people around the groups, the audience, they don't check these movements. They just allow them to happen because they're fighting. They think they're fighting a good cause. So the problem with the good Muslims versus the bad Muslims is that you don't get rid of them. So their argument is, well, we need to get rid of these Nazis because if we don't, they're going to kill us all. But that same logic would be, you have to apply that same logic to, if there's bad Muslims out there, we need to get rid of them. But why do the good Muslims don't do anything about the bad Muslims? They usually leave them alone. So it's the same thing as the socialists. Socialism has killed over 80 million people. Was it 80 million or 80 billion? I don't know, but it's enough. Anyway, so why do you have this movement, socialism, that has killed more than 80 million people, and you have the audience around you do nothing about that? That's the real problem. The reason why atrocities always occur is because the people around the bad people, the bad people claim that they're good people, and the actual good people around the bad people, they don't do anything about these small groups of people. So these small groups of Muslims are killing all these people. Small groups of elites are killing all these people. Small groups of socialists killing all these people. But the people around them don't do anything about it because they don't think it's a threat. A small group of 100 people can kill thousands of people. Think about it. The thing is, a lot of people don't know is that during the Arab slave trade, 80 million people died during the Arab slave trade. Because these small group of people killed 80 million people. That's because the people around the atrocities are not doing anything about it because the group is small. So we're ignoring the socialists. We're ignoring the Nazis. Like I said, these Nazis they're going around making memes and stuff. These ain't no Nazis, man. These people are like behind the keyboard. They're just doing stuff to make you offended, trying to offend you or something like that. Which we do need. We need to talk about and make fun of everything so we can understand. Like I said, you get the truth through comedy because there's no holds bar. You're just trying to make the person laugh. So you just talk about everything you need to talk about to get it all out. They're trying to make the person laugh. So there's no I can't offend this person. No, I'm just trying to make the person laugh. So I'm talking about what I need to talk about to make the person laugh. So there's no boundaries in comedy. You can do whatever you want because it's all about entertainment. It's all about making a person laugh. So you can go anywhere with it. So I think we should be offensive, but we also need to understand if you're If you're saying racist things and then you do it, okay, then you have to stop that. You can't allow that. But anyway, so look at the socialists and understand that these are actually the racists. They're just branding themselves differently so they can get more support. But if you don't think they're racist, just look at them. Their movements are mostly one race. It's mostly one race in their movements. They say the most racist stuff. They accuse you of racism, but they mostly say the most racist things. And they also use violence now. They're quick to use violence. They have no problem using violence. So think about it. Their groups are mostly one race. They say the most racist stuff, and they don't have no problem using violence. That's how you know. These are the real Nazis. These are the real racists. So that's all for today. Peace out.